7 ways to spot a relationship that's not meant to be. Relationships should bring joy, support, and personal growth, but sometimes, we find ourselves trying too hard to make a relationship work, even when deep down we know it's not right. In this video, we'll explore subtle signs that you might be forcing a connection with the wrong person. Recognizing these signs can help you make healthier decisions for your emotional well-being. 1. You're always initiating communication. In a relationship, communication should flow naturally between both people. If you find yourself consistently being the one to start the conversation, it could be a sign that something is off. This might include sending the first text, making the initial call, or organizing plans to meet. Over time, this one-sided effort can feel exhausting and may lead you to question if the other person truly values the connection as much as you do. Healthy communication involves a balance where both partners actively participate. When the other person rarely takes the initiative or appears indifferent to your efforts, it may reflect a lack of genuine interest. This imbalance can create emotional strain, leaving you feeling unappreciated or overlooked in the relationship. Taking a step back and observing their response when you stop initiating can reveal a lot about their level of investment. If they don't make an effort to reach out or maintain contact on their own, it might indicate that they're not as committed to the relationship as you are. A partner who genuinely cares will naturally want to engage and communicate without needing constant prompts. Reflecting on this dynamic is crucial. While no relationship is perfectly balanced all the time, consistent one-sided communication can signal deeper issues that need addressing to ensure a healthy and mutually fulfilling partnership. 2. You feel exhausted instead of fulfilled. A healthy relationship should bring a sense of joy, comfort, and fulfillment. It should energize you and add positivity to your life. However, if your relationship leaves you feeling constantly drained or emotionally exhausted, it may be a sign that something isn't right. This exhaustion often stems from trying too hard to make things work. You might feel like you're carrying the emotional weight of the relationship, constantly compromising, or going out of your way to please the other person, instead of being a source of mutual support and happiness. The relationship starts to feel like a one-sided effort. Over time, this emotional drain can take a toll on your well-being. You may notice feelings of anxiety, frustration, or even resentment creeping in. The relationship begins to feel more like a burden than a partnership, leaving little room for the positive emotions and growth that should come naturally in a healthy connection. It's important to recognize that relationships are meant to be uplifting, not depleting. Both partners should contribute to each other's happiness and provide a safe space to share their thoughts and feelings. If the dynamic consistently leaves you feeling unfulfilled, it may be time to reflect on whether the relationship aligns with your emotional needs and long-term goals. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time together. If your interactions rarely bring you joy or peace, it could be a subtle sign that you're forcing something that isn't meant to work. 3. You ignore your own needs to please them. Compromise is a natural and healthy part of any relationship. But when you start consistently ignoring your own needs and desires to accommodate someone else, it becomes a clear warning sign. Sacrificing your happiness to keep the peace or to ensure the other person's satisfaction can leave you feeling unappreciated and disconnected from your true self. In an unbalanced relationship, you might find yourself agreeing to things that contradict your values, preferences, or personal comfort. You may avoid voicing your opinions because of a fear of upsetting the other person. Perhaps you constantly adjust your schedule to prioritize their needs at the expense of your own. Over time, these actions lead to internal frustration and a sense of losing who you are. When you habitually neglect your own needs, it not only harms your emotional well-being but also encourages an unequal dynamic. The other person might unknowingly start to take your sacrifices for granted, making you feel even more invisible. A healthy relationship requires a partnership where both people feel valued and understood. To ensure your relationship is built on mutual respect, it's essential to establish boundaries and communicate openly about your needs. Reflect on whether you feel fulfilled and supported in the connection, or if you're simply pouring all your energy into keeping it afloat. If your individuality and happiness are consistently set aside, it may be time to reconsider whether the relationship aligns with your best interests. 4. You can't be yourself around them. A healthy relationship should feel like a safe space where you can be your authentic self, flaws and all. If you find yourself constantly walking on eggshells or altering your personality to fit what you think they expect, it's a sign that the relationship may not be right for you. The inability to be yourself is exhausting and prevents genuine connection. In a forced relationship, you might suppress your opinions, hide your quirks, or avoid sharing personal thoughts because you're worried about judgment or rejection. Perhaps you laugh at jokes you don't find funny, avoid topics you're passionate about, or even change your appearance to align with their preferences. Over time, these compromises can erode your self-esteem and sense of identity. When you feel you can't truly be yourself, it becomes difficult to form a deep emotional bond. Authenticity is the foundation of trust and intimacy, and without it, the relationship may feel superficial or strained. Pretending to be someone you're not is not sustainable and can lead to resentment as you begin to feel unseen and unappreciated. Take a step back and reflect on how you behave when you're with this person. Do you feel free to express your thoughts and emotions? Are you comfortable showing vulnerability and being honest about who you are? If the answer is no, it's important to consider whether this relationship is allowing you to grow or holding you back. Relationships should uplift and empower you, not make you feel like you need to wear a mask. 5. There's no clear vision for the future. A strong and meaningful relationship often includes a shared sense of direction, a vision of where both partners see themselves and the relationship heading in the long term. If the future feels vague, uncertain, or completely absent from your conversations, it may be a subtle sign that the relationship is being forced. When two people are truly aligned, discussions about the future happen naturally. You talk about goals, dreams, and plans, from short-term activities like vacations to long-term milestones like career aspirations, family planning, or where you'd like to live. These conversations create excitement and reassurance without feeling pressured or awkward. In a forced relationship, these discussions may feel like walking into a fog. One or both partners might avoid talking about the future altogether or dismiss it with vague answers. You may feel like you're struggling to get them to commit to small plans, let alone discuss significant life decisions. This lack of clarity can lead to a sense of instability, leaving you wondering whether the relationship is truly progressing or simply stuck in place. The absence of a shared vision often highlights differences in priorities or values. Perhaps you dream of traveling the world while they prefer a settled life in one place. Or maybe you're ready to build a family, but they seem indifferent or hesitant. These misalignments can create tension and make it difficult to see a future where both of your paths can converge. Ask yourself if you and your partner are working toward common goals or simply coasting without direction. If conversations about the future feel strained or avoided altogether, it's worth reflecting on whether this relationship is fulfilling your needs or just holding space in your life. A clear and shared vision brings stability, purpose, and excitement to a relationship, qualities that cannot be forced or faked. 6. The relationship is one-sided. A healthy relationship thrives on mutual effort, where both partners invest time, energy, and care into nurturing the bond. When a relationship becomes one-sided, it's often a sign that something isn't right. You may find yourself carrying the emotional weight, always giving while receiving very little in return. One-sided relationships manifest in many ways. Perhaps you're always the one initiating conversations, making plans, or showing affection. You put thought and effort into their happiness, but they rarely reciprocate. It feels like you're pouring your heart into the relationship while they remain distant or indifferent. This imbalance can leave you feeling unappreciated and undervalued. Emotional support is another area where one-sidedness becomes painfully evident. You might be their go-to person for advice or comfort during tough times, but when you need someone to lean on, they're unavailable or dismissive. A lack of support can lead to feelings of isolation, even when you're physically together. In a one-sided relationship, compromises are often lopsided as well. You might find yourself sacrificing your time, interests, or needs to accommodate theirs, yet they rarely make the same effort for you. Over time, this dynamic can create resentment and emotional exhaustion, as you feel like your needs and well-being are consistently ignored. It's important to recognize that relationships should be a partnership, not a one-person effort. If you're constantly questioning whether they truly care or if they're equally invested, it's a red flag. Take a step back and evaluate whether this relationship is serving you or draining you. A meaningful connection should uplift both individuals, not leave one feeling used or unimportant. Addressing this issue requires honest communication and introspection. If your concerns are met with resistance or indifference, it may be time to consider whether staying in the relationship is truly in your best interest. A balanced and mutual partnership is the foundation of a fulfilling and lasting bond. 7. You feel more alone than supported. One of the most painful realities of a strained relationship is feeling alone while being with someone. Relationships are meant to provide companionship, support, and a sense of belonging. However, when you feel isolated instead of comforted, it is a sign that the connection might be fundamentally flawed. Feeling alone in a relationship can stem from emotional unavailability. Perhaps your partner is physically present but emotionally distant, leaving you to navigate your struggles without their empathy or understanding. You might long for meaningful conversations or emotional intimacy, only to be met with indifference or superficial responses. This emotional disconnect can make you feel like you are facing life's challenges entirely on your own. Another reason you might feel unsupported is if your partner dismisses or minimizes your feelings. When you open up about your emotions, dreams, or concerns, they might change the subject, downplay your experiences, or even invalidate your perspective. Over time, this lack of acknowledgement can erode your self-esteem and leave you feeling unheard and unseen. Practical support is just as important as emotional support in a relationship. If your partner consistently neglects to show up for you in times of need, whether it is helping with everyday tasks or being there during significant moments, it can lead to feelings of abandonment. You might start questioning whether they truly care about your well-being or if you are prioritizing someone who does not reciprocate. This dynamic can also lead to self-blame. You may begin to wonder if you are expecting too much or if the loneliness is your fault, even though it stems from a lack of mutual effort. This internal conflict only deepens the emotional void, making it harder to address the issue. Feeling alone in a relationship is a sign that something needs to change. Start by reflecting on whether your partner's actions align with their words. Are they truly supportive, or are they just going through the motions? Honest communication is essential, but if your efforts to bridge the gap are met with resistance or apathy, it may be time to reevaluate whether the relationship is meeting your emotional needs. You deserve a relationship where you feel valued, heard, and supported, one that nurtures your growth and makes you feel like you have a true teammate in life. Anything less will only leave you feeling lonelier than if you were on your own. Forcing a relationship rarely leads to happiness. Recognizing these signs early can save you from prolonged heartbreak and allow you to focus on finding someone who truly values you for who you are.